It's time for Dodger Baseball. Live from Dodger Stadium, Sportsnet LA presents the Dodgers as they take on the St. Louis Cardinals. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant Saturday evening to you, wherever you may be. Welcome to Dodger Stadium and the third game of the four-game series with the Cardinals. For the Cardinals, they've beaten the Dodgers 4 out of 5 already this year, and they're on a roll. The Cardinals have won 4 straight, 10 of their last 12, and their pitching staff over that stretch, an ERA of 1.6. For the Dodgers, going the other way. They've lost 3 in a row. They've lost 7 of the last 10, and they might even lose first place because the Giants won today. They defeated Philadelphia 7-5. On the mound for the Dodgers, it'll be Clayton Kershaw with a record of 4-3. Clayton is 5-5 lifetime against the Cardinals. Pitching here at Dodger Stadium, he has a record of 3-2 against them. He's made 14 starts against St. Louis. For the Cardinals, Jaime Garcia, a left-hander who had to quit the year in June of last year with a bad shoulder, underwent surgery, has come back and pitched well, despite the fact he has a 1-2 record. You have to remember the Cardinals have been shut out in 2 of the 3 games in which he has pitched. So those are the numbers. It's the Dodgers and the Cardinals, Game 3 of the 4-game series, and we'll have the ball game and a whole lot more coming up right after this. LA is brought to you by Disneyland. Get ready to be dazzled during the Disneyland Resort Diamond Celebration happening now with spectacular new entertainment and more. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant Saturday night to you. The wild horse is loose again. Since April the 24th, he's not been able to play. But tonight, Yasiel Puig returns to play right field, and he will be batting third in the lineup. The Dodgers have done fairly well without him, but they need his spark to turn things around for a ball club that has lost 3 straight and lost 7 out of 10. Mike Matheny's club, however, is doing the other thing, and that is they've won 4 straight, 10 of 12. And Mike, by the way, 45 years old, the first Cardinal manager and the 5th in Major League Baseball history to lead his teams to the postseason in each of his first 3 full seasons. So the Cardinals have themselves quite a man at the helm. For the Cardinal lineup tonight, it'll be Peter Bourgeois to open up in center field. Then it'll be Matt Carpenter at third and Matt Holliday in left. Yonny Peralta at short hits cleanup. Randa Grichuk in right field, Mark Reynolds at first, Yadier Molina, Pete Kozma at second, Jaime Garcia. We're a little bit on horseback because Clayton Kershaw is ready to go. And Bourgeois checks in, right-hand batter, formerly with the Angels, takes a pitch high, ball 1. In looking at Clayton Kershaw, he is 5-5 lifetime, 14 career starts against St. Louis. His 1-0 pitch is swung on and missed, and the count 1-1. For Peter Bourgeois, he is wearing the old-time Cardinal uniform. In other words, it's full dress all the way to his shoes. The 1-1 pitch, breaking ball in for a strike. You don't see it very often anymore, but the red, white, and blue stripes on the red stockings, along with the birds on the bat, that was the Cardinal uniform we saw so many, many years ago. The 1-2 fastball is down and away. In this day and age, it's the rare player to tuck the pants in at the knee. So to look at Peter in there, you immediately think of those old days. 2-2 pitch on the way. Bourgeois hits it in the air. A little pop foul off first base. Coming down, settling under and making the catch is Justin Turner. And with that, we have 1 away. Let's take a look at the Dodgers with the leather tonight. A little bit different, and they shape up this way. Turner at first, Kike Hernandez at second, Jimmy Rollins at short, Alberto Callaspo at third. Then you have Chris Heise in left, Jock Peterson in center, Yasiel Puig in right. A.J. Ellis is handling Clayton Kershaw. Puig moving a bit over towards right center, gazing in as Carpenter checks in. Matt Carpenter, and we talked about it last night, was absolutely fantastic against Dodger left-hand pitching in the playoffs, and he continues to do a number on the Dodgers day in and day out whenever given the opportunity. So Carpenter with 1 out and the bases empty checking in, and Kershaw ready to go to him. Clayton back with a pitch, check swing, the look at third, swing, says Dan Iasonia, and the count, no balls and 2 strikes. Carpenter had 3 home runs and 7 RBIs against left-handers. And among those left-handers, he hit home runs against Kershaw, Howell, and Ryu. So Matt out of Sugar Land, Texas, and the strike 2 pitch on the way is foul back. Still 0-2. Carpenter, 6'3", about 200 pounds. Had Tommy John surgery when he was in college. Does not wear a batting glove. And you've heard of all the big bonuses paid for so many players. Cardinals signed him for $1,000. Here's the strike 2 pitch on the way. Matt looks, waves at a breaking ball and foul tips it, and the count remains 0-2. Carpenter joined a rather exclusive list of left-handers with 5 extra base hits off left-hand pitchers in a single postseason series. He joins Babe Ruth, Wilver Stargell, Chase Utley, all in the World Series, and with him it was the Division Series. He's the only left-hander to ever have a 3-hit game against Clayton Kershaw, and the fastball is foul back. He did it last June. Clayton allowed only 2 other hits. He blanked the Cardinals that game, but Carpenter had 3 hits. So Matt Carpenter with 1 out in the first inning. Matt Holliday on deck. Kershaw has made 10 pitches, and the left-hander turns with his strike 2 pitch on the way. Big curveball fouled away. That's that big slow curve, and Carpenter just chipped it away foul. Take another look. That's a pitch that's taken by so many hitters for a strike, but Carpenter was not going to take it and fouled it off. So Kershaw, again, she can't say a nemesis, but certainly a highly talented ball player by the name of Matt Carpenter. Matt will be 30 years old near the end of November. He takes the next one low, and the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. Kershaw 4 wins, 3 losses. 3 of his 4 wins against Colorado, so he's made the most out of the appearances against that ball club. Clayton, both feet on the rubber, turns now, and his 1-2 pitch on the way hits Carpenter in the small of the back. It was a fastball. Carpenter tried to turn out of the way and is hit by the pitch.
The fielder, number 7, Matt Holliday.
For Matt Carpenter, just to check his record, he had been hit once before, and for Clayton Kershaw, he has now hit 3 batters. Carpenter's not quite ready to play. That was a fastball that got him, no off-speed pitch. 93 hit him right under the 13 that he wears. That was an 8-pitch at bat, by the way. So Carpenter makes Kershaw labor, and then Kershaw makes Carpenter hurt. And the batter is Matt Holliday. So Holliday hitting .312. He's always played well here. He has 274 career home runs. And Holliday waiting as Kershaw out of his stretch. Looks at Carpenter. Now works the plate. Fastball, and that's swung on and missed in the count 0-1. Matt taking a good cut at a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. 1 out, 1 on. First inning, no score. Kershaw hands it aside, reading his buddy A.J. Ellis. Peterson slightly off towards right center a little bit. And the strike 1 pitch on the way is a hopper to the right side. Hernandez gets 1. Rollins gets 2, and that's it. So Holliday hits into a 4-6-3 double play. No runs, no hits, nobody left. And at the end of half an inning, Cardinals nothing, Dodgers coming up. First inning, the Dodgers trying to find a way to beat them, and we'll take a look at Don Mattingly's lineup. It shapes up with Jock Peterson leading off, Chris Heisey in left field, Yasiel Puig returns tonight in right, Justin Turner at first base, Kike Hernandez at second, Jimmy Rollins at short, Alberto Callaspo at third, A.J. Ellis behind the plate, Clayton Kershaw on the mound. On the mound is Jaime Garcia from Reynosa, Mexico. Had serious shoulder surgery. Was finished by June of last year. Has come back and pitched well enough. A record of 1-2, good ERA of 2.7, and in his defeats, the Cardinals have been shut out twice. So the left-hander facing Peterson, Heise, and Puig on this June the 6th. Yes, June the 6th. 71 years ago, the Allies invaded Normandy in France in the beginning and the end of World War II in Europe itself. It all started 71 years ago as Peterson takes ball one. So let us not forget, we're here watching a good ball game, watching some fine players, all because of what happened 71 years ago. Peterson takes high, 2 balls and no strikes. There were 5 beaches invaded by the Allies. The United States invaded Utah and Omaha. The British invaded Gold and Sword as a big swing and a miss by Peterson. And the Canadians invaded Juneau. And of the bloodbaths, and there were many, the big one occurred at Omaha. 34,000 Americans stormed the beaches on this day. 2-1 pitch on the way, breaking ball strike, and the count 2-2. If there is one thing we have ever asked of the audience, and that is to please talk to the youngsters in your family, talk to the youngsters whom you know as friends. Peterson, meanwhile, little dunker to center, and it'll drop in front of Burgos for a base hit. So please explain to the kids, don't let June 6th ever go by without reminding them of the tremendous debt that we owe. Just that one day, Allied forces invading Europe, there were nearly 10,000 casualties, and in that one day, over 4,000 dead. They are buried in Europe to this day. So please don't forget. All right, Peterson at first. Here's Chris Heise. Out of his stretch goes Garcia. Looks over at first, comes to Heise, and the pitch is low, ball one. Chris, right-hand hitting outfielder, originally signed by the Reds and played with the Reds back in 07. Went back down to the minors, came back up in 2010, stayed with the Reds, and eventually surfaced with the Dodgers in spring training this year. The 1-0 pitch on the way. Fastball, a hopper to short. Juggle, drop, recovered for one. Throw to first, double play. The ball was hit that hard that they still got the double play, even though it was hot for shortstop Johnny Peralta to hold on to, and they still get it. So 2 down, and here is Yasiel Puig. So Yasiel checking in for the first time since April the 24th. Puig trying to give the ball club a boost, hitting .279, 2 home runs, 4 runs batted in. And the first pitch in for a strike, and the count 0-1. Garcia from the third base side of the rubber comes back with a big, slow Clayton Kershaw curveball, and Puig swings and misses. 0-2. That was right out of Kershaw's book. The Clayton toweling that valuable left arm in the Dodger dugout. Garcia licks his lips. Now he's ready. Fastball is swung on and missed. And welcome to the big leagues again, Yasiel Puig, as down he goes. No runs, 1 hit, nobody left, and at the end of an inning, no score. Kind of starts the way we left off. A hit batter in the first inning, followed by a double play hit into by Matt Holliday. Dodgers get a flare single by Peterson, and Heise hits into a double play, and Puig strikes out. So it's the second inning. Johnny Peralta, who started that hot potato double play, will start it off. Right hand hitting shortstop takes a strike, and the count 0-1. Clayton Kershaw trying to salvage one after the Dodgers have lost their first two. Strike one pitch, slow curve ball in there. That changeup curve, 0-2 the count. Clayton ready to pitch again. Peralta waiting at the plate. And the strike two pitch on the way in the dirt, blocked by A.J. Ellis. 1-2 the count. Kershaw this year, his first 25 pitches, the opposition is hitting 167. From 26 to 50, the opposition is hitting 329. So when we get up there, we'll start watching very carefully. The 1-2 pitch on the way. Clayton's pitch is low, and it's a 2-ball, 2-strike count. One of the big differences early in the year for Clayton is what he has done against runners in scoring position. Last year, the opposition hit 190, but this year they've hit 310. Here's the 2-2 pitch on the way. Peralta swings, and down he goes. So Peralta opens up the second inning. Strikeout number 1 for Clayton Kershaw.
Right fielder number 15, Randall Grichuk.
And Randall Grichuk coming up, the right fielder. Interesting series for the Cardinals. They've had 3 different center fielders, one for each game. John Jay, game 1. Then last night, Randall Grichuk. And with Jay sitting and watching, and Grichuk playing right field, Peter Bourjos, the 3rd center fielder in the series. First pitch fouled away, and the count 0-1. No score. Top of the second inning. Grichuk, the boy who was drafted ahead of Mike Trout. I'm sure you've heard that story before. Right-hand batter, bends at the knees and waist. Strike one pitch. Randall takes low and inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. One of the things the Cardinals have done, they have overcome adversity. Adversity by the name of Adam Wainwright. 1-1 pitch on the way is in the dirt. I mean, when you lose your ace, that is a shattering blow, and they lost their ace. And since they lost Adam Wainwright, all the Cardinals have done was go 25-14. Jason Hayward sitting on the bench. Michael Wacha, Johnny Peralta working on some gum. The 2-1 pitch, a chopper up the middle, just by the lunge of Rollins, and safely aboard is Grichuk with a single to center. Even had Rollins gloved that ball, he was going so far away from his original position, I don't think he could have made a play on Grichuk anyway. Jimmy lunged, came up empty, and the Cardinals have their first hit. So Grichuk aboard at first, and Mark Reynolds coming up. Reynolds playing first base, and of course in his big days in the National League, he was a third baseman for Arizona. And when they lost Matt Adams, Reynolds has moved in and handled the position very well. Matt Adams, that's a name that Clayton Kershaw will never forget. The left-handed fastball is foul back. Remember last year in St. Louis, Kershaw winning 2-0. Dodgers looked like they're going to pick up a win, and Matt Adams, big left-hand hitter, hit a 3-run home run to sink Kershaw and the Dodgers ship. 0-1 to count to Mark Reynolds with Yadier Molina on deck. Kershaw throws to first. One of the things that he has done as he has matured, he has stopped the running game just about completely. Kershaw facing Mark Reynolds. Reynolds in the past 4 for 20 against him. And the next pitch in for a strike. So Reynolds, who has been a strikeout hitter, remember he set a major league record striking out 220 times a few years ago. Still dangerous with the bat. Meanwhile, Grichuk at first with 1 out. No score, 2nd inning. Kershaw ready. Back he comes, low and inside as he tries to hit the corner, and it's a 1-ball, 2-strike count. In looking at the Cardinals, the center fielder Burgos has a home run against Kershaw, the only one Cardinals have hit against him. Clayton goes to his stretch. Grichuk off the bag. Turner holding the corner. And the fastball on the outside corner. Strike 3 called to Reynolds. Strikeout number 2 for Clayton Kershaw. And the batter now will be Yadier Molina. Perfect pitch right on the outside corner. Reynolds would debate it. Kershaw will take it. And here comes Molina. Yadier Molina hitting .273 against Kershaw. He has a half a dozen hits, 3 of them doubles, and has done so well here at Dodger Stadium. He takes a strike. When he arrived here, his career batting average at Dodger Stadium was .327. He's been pretty quiet, so his career batting average now here .320. 0-1 the count. Kershaw ready. The left-hander back with a pitch foul back, and the count 0-2. Tonight, by the way, Clayton Kershaw's 221st career start. That's right. And of those starts, including tonight, A.J. Ellis has been the catcher for 95. Russell Martin caught him for 61. No balls and 2 strikes. Kershaw looks over at first, decides to go over there. Grichuk diving back to the bag. We'll see about running Grichuk. He does have 1 stolen base. Cardinals as a team have stolen 22. The Dodgers have only stolen 13. Kershaw ready. Another look at first and another payment over there just to take a step away if he can from Grichuk. No balls and 2 strikes. The count on Yadier Molina. Turner playing off the bag, reminding the way Keith Hernandez used to hold runners on. And the pitch to Molina. Strike 3 called. So Kershaw strikes out the side. No runs, 1 hit, and a man left. Who did he get? He got Johnny Peralta to start things off in the inning. Buzzed him with a fastball. Then Reynolds came up, got him with a fastball on the outside corner, and for good measure, he nails Yadier Molina. Inning and a half, no score. Second inning, gives up a base hit and nothing else. Bottom of the second inning, and with no score on the boards, it'll be Turner, Hernandez, and Rollins. You know, every night or day we salute a military hero. Tonight, being December, being this time of year, and we keep talking about June the 6th, the first pitch to Turner is high, ball one. So we were honored indeed to have the 75th United States Secretary of the Navy, Ray Mabus, here tonight, and he was saluted along as well as our military hero. 1-0 pitch on the way. That's taken inside. You might not know that with the Secretary of the Navy here, one member of the St. Louis Cardinals went over to shake his hand for good reason. The member of the Cardinals, his name is Mitch Harris. He's a pitcher. He is 30 years old. That's a little old for a guy trying to stay with a Major League ball club the first time. But Mitch Harris is a graduate of the United States Naval Academy at Annapolis. Turner fouled it away. So it was a nice touch. Mitch walking across the field, having his picture taken with the Secretary of the Navy, having spent 5 years of his life in the Navy. Mitch Harris is now a lieutenant. He has a degree in engineering. We haven't seen him pitch thus far, but it was a lovely moment. 2-1 pitch on the way to Turner is fouled back. 2-2 the count. Kershaw, by the way, in striking out the side, took him 16 pitches. He also gave up a base hit. But we're in the second, no score. Turner, Hernandez, and Rollins in that order. Garcia ready in the left-hander, back 2-2, and a fly ball to left field. Coming up is Holiday to make the catch for the out. So Turner goes to left, one down. By the way, you know, friends, we're excited to announce starting Tuesday, Sportsnet LA will be available to charter customers. For information and channel listings, log on to sportsnetla.com. Kike Hernandez checking in with one out. Kike made a play last night which will disappear. No one's going to talk about it, but it was rather a remarkable play for a guy who plays almost anywhere. He takes ball one. Remember the big play last night? Colton Wong hit a ground ball wide of first. Adrian Gonzalez. Brett Anderson, who would normally cover first base, slipped. But what was a pleasant surprise, Kike Hernandez was at first base. He sprinted over there and could have handled a throw. The only problem was that Adrian Gonzalez, with his back turned, thought that since Anderson slipped, he had no play. Well, the play was directly behind him because of the outstanding hustle of Kike Hernandez. I mean, you just don't see a ground ball like that, and the second baseman getting over and could have handled the throw, but Adrian didn't know he was there. He promptly hits one to right field. Coming up, a diving try to no avail by the right fielder Grichuk, and safely aboard is Hernandez with a single. So a one-out single to right field will bring up Jimmy Rollins. Take another look. Grichuk giving it his best shot with that gold glove that he uses, but he was just shy, although the ball actually hit his glove. So it's a base hit for Hernandez. 2 hits for the Dodgers. And the batter now, Jimmy Rollins, who does not have much of an average, but has actually been hitting the ball very well of late. Garcia looks at first to the plate with a fastball strike, and the count 0-1. Rollins in the second inning last night just hit a shot that might very well have driven in a couple. Instead, Mark Reynolds made a dazzling play at first and turned it into an inning-ending double play. 0-1 the count to Jimmy. Switch hitter batting right-handed. Garcia back with a pitch fouled away upstairs, and the count no balls and 2 strikes. Even if you're not a race fan, I'm sure you know the Triple Crown accomplished by the great horse American Pharoah. The last winner back in 1978 was a Fern. That day 37 years ago, the Dodgers were in Pittsburgh, and the Dodger pitcher was another thoroughbred by the name of Don Sutton. Here's the strike 2 pitch on the way. Rollins swings and doesn't get it, and down he goes. Second strikeout for Jaime Garcia. 2 down, second inning. Alberto Callaspo coming up. Callaspo playing third base, settling in with his new ball club, hitting .210, hitting .235 with the Dodgers over the last 9 games. Jaime Garcia, who had shoulder surgery, also had Tommy John surgery back in 2008, throws over to first. Garcia looks like he's wearing spats. If you sit upstairs looking down, I mean, he has those hot-looking puppies, red and white, which of course goes right along with the uniform. So the man from Reynosa, Mexico, comes back with a pitch just low and inside. 1 ball and no strikes. Originally a 22nd round pick by the Cardinals 10 years ago. Although he was born in Reynosa, he grew up in Mission, Texas, and there was a good reason to cross the border. Fastball fouled away. He was the only son of 3 children, and he got a heavy dose of baseball at a young age from his father, who was a civil engineer. And his father felt if they moved to Mission, he'd have a much better chance of being seen by scouts and eventually make it to the ball club. Jaime Garcia. Career certainly hobbled by injuries. Hernandez off the bag. 1-1 pitch fouled at the plate. 1-2. Garcia, since 2012, he missed 25 days in June, 31 days in July, 17 days in August. 2013, he was out for the season after May the 17th. Last year, he was out for the season after June the 20th. So he has really been victimized by injury, and yet he has hung in there, and here he is, commanding the respect of his teammates and everybody in the league. 1-2 pitch on the way. Ground ball to short. Peralta picks it over to second base, and that'll be that. So no runs a hit. A man left. Garcia walks off the field at the end of 2, all tangled up with Clayton Kershaw. Going back to 1944, the operation was called Overlord, the largest air, land, and sea operation undertaken. It included over 5,000 ships, 11,000 airplanes, 150,000 servicemen, and it came down to this. The boat ramp goes down, You jump, swim, run, and crawl to the cliffs. Many of the first young men were not yet 20 years old, and they entered the surf carrying 80 pounds of equipment. Many of them drowned. They faced over 200 yards of beach before reaching the first natural feature offering any protection at all. And here we are watching a ball game. June the 6th, 1944. Pete Kozma takes 1 ball and no strikes. Kershaw ready and comes back, and it's fouled away off to the right. A look, but that's all by Ellis, well back into the stands. 1 ball and 1 strike to count. What a beautiful Saturday night, the canopy of blue, and tonight we have the addition of the mountains. Last night it was very hazy out there. We couldn't see a thing, but they are sketched. They are outlined against the sky. The mighty mountains back of the ballpark. 1 ball and 1 strike to count, and Kershaw back with a pitch swung on and missed. A nice, easy 92-mile-an-hour fastball. No score, top of the 3rd. Cardinals have 1 hit, single by Grichuk. Dodgers have 2 hits by Peterson and Hernandez. Clayton back with that breaking ball where he takes so much off it, and the change takes care of Kozma. So the last 4 outs have all been strikeouts. A reminder, Tuesday at 7:10, Dodgers and D-backs be one of the first 40,000 in attendance and receive a Jock Peterson t-shirt presented by Edmunds.com. For more information, go to Dodgers.com/promotions. All right, Kershaw's made 35 pitches. Remember, we were talking about that spread, 26-50. The first pitch in for a strike to Jaime Garcia. During that spread, the opposition has hit 329. So he still has another 14 pitches left in that zone. Next pitch is swung on and missed. 0-2. Garcia, who bats as he pitches, left-handed. And the strike 2 pitch on the way is swung on, a hopper to short. Rollins staggers but stays with it and throws him out. So a hard ground ball off the bat of Jaime Garcia. The left-hander goes back to the dugout. Peter Borges coming up. He fouled out in the first inning. Peter Borges last year tied a game in the 6th inning with a home run off Clayton Kershaw back in July in St. Louis. The Dodgers would go on to win it in the 9th inning. They were able to beat Trevor Rosenthal. But they do remember the home run by Borges. He is certainly not known as a power hitter. He has 1 home run this year. Peter swings, doesn't get it, and the count 0-1. Borges from Park Ridge, Illinois, lives in Arizona now. Swings, doesn't get it. He was a 10th round pick by the Angels back in 2006. Probably his best year, 2011 with the Angels. He had 26 doubles, 11 triples, and 12 home runs. But not now. Strike 3 call. That's 5 strikeouts for Clayton Kershaw. And at the end of 2.5 innings, no score. Dodgers. Looking back at the Dodgers, they've done a complete about face. If you get through May the 18th, things were doing swimmingly. The Dodgers were 24-13. They were averaging 5 runs a game, hitting .295 with runners in scoring position. The numbers tell it. However, the one thing the numbers don't tell you, on May the 18th, the Dodgers were 4.5 games in front of the pack. Right now, they're tied with the Giants. Giants won this afternoon. So the Dodgers fighting to stay in first place tonight, having suffered a very tough 2 weeks. A.J. Ellis, Clayton Kershaw, and Jock Peterson in that order. Jaime Garcia delivers, and the fastball is up. Ball 1, 1-0. Garcia basically a ground ball pitcher. He got that big double play in the first inning. The next pitch stays high. 2 balls and no strikes. It usually takes Garcia a good 25 pitches, and he's now made 27. Remember, we were talking about Kershaw's spread. There's a ground ball to short. Peralta waits for it, then cranks it up and throws him out. And we have 1 down in the 3rd inning. With Jaime Garcia, from pitch 26 to pitch 100, the opposition is hitting 196. So he's just starting that. So from now on, at least from the past, he figures to get very, very tough. So here's Clayton, pretty good hitting pitcher, hitting 185. Both left-handers bat left-handed, and Kershaw looks at a strike, and the count 0-1. Amazing, we mentioned it earlier, an amazing rivalry between these two teams. Here's the strike 1 pitch on the way. Clayton shies away, and it drops in for a strike. Throw the curve, be the victim of the curve. 0-2 the count. Since 1900, the Dodgers have beaten the Cardinals 1,017, and the Cardinals have beaten the Dodgers 1,016. 1 game since 1900 separating the two teams. Of course, the two teams are right now going in opposite directions. The 1-2 pitch fouled away. The Cardinals have won 4 straight, 10 of the last 12. The Dodgers have lost 3 straight, 7 of the last 10, and they're hoping to perk up with the return of Yasiel Puig. By the way, while Puig was out, the Dodgers were 21-18, +3. Kershaw takes strike 3 called. Fastball that nails him somewhere up around the letters. So with 2 down in the 3rd inning, Jock Peterson coming up. That would be the 3rd strikeout for Jaime Garcia, which means we've had 8 strikeouts in 2 1/3 innings. Peterson a single in the 1st inning. Jock with 17 home runs, 33 runs batted in. Garcia, with a record of 1-2, has allowed 2 home runs, in case you were thinking about that. Garcia from the 3rd base side of the rubber comes with the first pitch, line foul outside of 3rd. 0-1 the count. Peterson in last night's game went 0 for 3, struck out twice. The game before, robbed of an extra base hit by Jason Hayward, did double. Hayward a spectator tonight, along with Carlos Martinez, who pitched that great game last night. The pitch to Peterson in for a strike, and the count 0-2. No balls and 2 strikes. The 0-2 pitch on the way, foul back to the screen. For Garcia, like so many of the Cardinal pitchers, if you give him 3 runs, he figures to win. His career, when given 3, is 40-8. No score here in the 3rd. Strike 2 pitch to Peterson in the dirt. New ball put in play by C.B. Buckner, the plate umpire. For C.B., Well, he's had 16 years umpiring in the big leagues. He was born in Jamaica in the West Indies. Entered the United States in 1973. Played center field in college. And Peterson, meanwhile, goes down swinging. So that's the 4th strikeout for Garcia. That means 9 strikeouts in the first 3 innings. And at the end of 3, no score. Today. And by Jack in the Box. Taste the new black pepper cheeseburger today, only at Jack in the Box. 4th inning, no score in the ball game. A battle of 2 talented left-handers, Clayton Kershaw, Jaime Garcia, and Matt Carpenter at the plate. Carpenter, a strike. Hit by the pitch, thought it got him in the small of the back. Closer observers said no, it got him on the elbow, but he's okay. And wearing a protective covering on that right elbow. Ground foul. We talk about ball players, we talk about heroes. How about Lieutenant Robert Mathias? He was probably the first American officer to die on D-Day, and he met his end before he ever met his destination. I'll tell you about Lieutenant Mathias in a minute. No balls and 2 strikes. Breaking ball, 1 and 2. He was a member of the 82nd Airborne Division's E Company, the parachute regiment, preparing to jump from his platoon C-47 at around 2 a.m. June the 6th, 1944. That was the time. That was the moment. 1 and 2 to Carpenter. Down he goes swinging. Strikeout number 6 for Clayton. Anyway, Lieutenant Mathias was prepared to jump from the C-47, but before the officer leaped from the aircraft, German artillery fire sprayed the belly of the plane. Mathias was hit just as the door light turned green, but survivors recounted that the bleeding airman shouted, "Come on, let's go," and jumped with the rest of the men anywhere. Well, his battered remains were later found on the ground, tangled in his parachute. Lieutenant Robert Mathias. 1 out here in the 4th. Here's Matt Holliday, ball 1. Kershaw with a half a dozen strikeouts. 4 of the first 5 the hitters were looking. The 1-0 pitch on the way. That's off the plate. 1, now 2, 2-0. Kershaw, by the way, in the first 10 batters, he had the count 0-2 to 6 of the 10. Foul ball on the foot, like a folding chair. Matt Holliday went down. He's got a protective covering on the left leg. Strides forward, and it hit him just about on the instep. If you've ever played the game and you have something like that happen, you cannot believe that a baseball weighs somewhere around 5.25 ounces. No way. It feels like you were hit by at least a bowling ball. 2-1. Fastball, but low. Kershaw last year, following a Dodger loss, he was 10-1. Fastball away. The Holiday draws the walk. This year, following a Dodger loss, he is 2-2. So we'll see what happens tonight. And of course, tomorrow night, Zach Greinke will take the mound against Lance Lynn. And then Monday night, Arizona will be here. Pitching carefully to Holiday, and why not? Matt Holliday, with his 274 career home runs, is 13th amongst active home run leaders. Number 14 is Adrian Gonzalez. So here's Peralta. 0-1. John struck out in the second inning, the first of the 6 Kershaw strikeouts. Clayton has allowed 1 hit. He has hit a batter, and he walked Holiday. Holiday a very short lead at first. Off speed pitch, and Peralta couldn't wait for it. 0-2. Matt Holliday has stolen 2 bases. You don't think of him as a base stealer, but he has stolen 2 and been caught once. Pretty hard to run on Kershaw when he's striking out a lot of people. 0-2. That breaking ball, a real downer into the dirt. Nice block by A.J. Ellis. 1-2 the count. Fastball. He just blew him away with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. That's as hard as Kershaw has thrown a pitch tonight, and it's also his 7th strikeout. I mean, you talk about no chance. Peralta didn't have much of a chance to catch up on that one. 7 strikeouts. Now Randall Grichuk, the proud possessor of the only hit, singled up the middle in the second inning. Randall hitting .286, 2 home runs, 10 runs batted in. And ball 1. You look at the Cardinal dugout, they are all up on the railing watching Kershaw. That in itself is a silent tribute. One ball, no strikes. 1-1. Kershaw now 56 pitches. Holiday barely off the bag. That's a good idea. If you have a somewhat timid base runner, remind him and make him give up even that one step he really doesn't want to take. Drops that change, but low this time. 2 balls and 1 strike. Quite a duel here, but every time the Cardinals and the Dodgers get together, you figure it's going to be a tough duel. You don't usually have blowouts, not when these two teams get together. Biggest blowout the other night when Waka and the Cardinals beat the Dodgers 7-1. But otherwise they're 3-1, 2-1, 3-0. Waka and Carlos Martinez, the two fellows who pitched gems against the Dodgers, taking in the action. And again, what a tribute to the Cardinals to be flying high, losing Adam Wainwright. Fastball fouled away. I mean, certainly for the Cardinals to lose Wainwright, it would be as if the Dodgers lost Kershaw. But Mike Matheny, who, by the way, you know, he was a wonderful catcher. He holds the major league catching record, 252 errorless consecutive games, 1,565 consecutive errorless chances, 4 Gold Gloves. Fastball rolled to short with 2 down. They'll get the force play, and that's that. No runs, no hits, 1 left. Clayton walks off at the end of 3.5 innings, no score. Ball and fireworks. July 4th, the Dodgers and the New York Mets. Then stay after the game. See a spectacular 4th of July fireworks show presented by Cirque du Soleil. For more information, go to Dodgers.com/promotions. Kershaw in his 4 innings has made 60 pitches, much to the delight of father and son. A reminder, Father's Day is not too far away. Chris Heisey hit the ball very hard in the first inning. A hot potato. Peralta couldn't hold on to it at first, but they still got the double play. Change curve for a strike. 0-1. Heisey trying to get something started here. Bottom of the 4th, no score. And a fly ball to shallow center. Burgos is there. Peter puts it away, 1 down. Yasiel Puig coming up. Puig struck out in the first inning. By the way, a look down on the field now. Remember, Carpenter was hit on the elbow. Well, he's had to give way. And they've made 2 changes here. Pete Kozma is in, and now Colton Wong. So Wong takes over at second base, and Kozma will go into third. And Carpenter out with a sore elbow. Oh, 0-1. Foul ball, 0-2 the count. So if you are keeping score, and it's not a bad idea, especially when the Dodgers play the Cardinals. Wong is in Carpenter's spot. Kozma bats 8th and is now the third baseman. Sorry to see Matt get hit. Too good a ball player. I'd like to see him play every day. 1-2 the count. One ball, 2 strikes. 1 out, bases empty, bottom of the 4th, no score. Big curveball, gotcha, strike 3. The Garcia really bends a beauty, although Puig didn't think so. 5 strikeouts now. So that's a total of 12 strikeouts. Pitch above the belt and in there for strike 3. C.B. Buckner letting everybody know it was a strike. Puig thought it was up. Doesn't say much. 2 down. And here's Turner, fly to left field in the 2nd inning. And there's that curveball right out of, maybe it's not quite as big an arc, but it's the same pitch and the same philosophy as that slow curveball of Clayton Kershaw. 0-1. Fouled away. Jaime Garcia is 6'2" and he's 220 pounds. So he can bring it without a doubt. Interesting too, C.B. Buckner is the plate umpire, and it just worked out tonight that Buckner is behind. When Buckner's behind the plate, Garcia has an earned run average of 3 in 20 innings. So you could say they complement each other. Fastball low, squirts away. 1-2 the count. Oh yes, you can bet. You know, in this day and age, they talk about a pitcher and then they talk about the catcher's earned run average handling the pitcher. Well, you can bet the pitchers know the style of the umpire. This is the guy who gives you the low ball. This is the fellow who'll give you the ball up a little higher than the zone. And at least so far, Jaime Garcia has to be thrilled with C.B. Buckner. Don't know what A.G. Ellis would think about him. But for Clayton Kershaw, he has struck out 7, hit a batter and walked 1. And we have a scoreless battle going on. 1-2 to Justin Turner. Bounce that one. Giants won today. They almost blew a 6-0 lead. They wound up winning 7-5 against Philadelphia. So first place is up for grabs. Technically, the Dodgers and the Giants are tied right now. Dodger wins, they go back alone. Dodgers lose, they drop out at first. 2-2 to Justin Turner. Breaking ball hit to the left of Peralta. He just glides over and makes the play. So the Dodgers go down. That's 8 in a row retired since Hernandez base hit. And at the end of 4, no score. And is locked in. Are they ever? In 4 innings, Kershaw has made 60 pitches. In his 4 innings, Garcia has made 50. The difference in strikeouts, Clayton has 7 and Jaime has 5. You have 2 hits given up to the Dodgers, 1 hit allowed to the Cardinals, and they are locked in. Jaime, Garcia, and Clayton Kershaw. Reynolds, Molina, and Cosma in that order in the 5th inning. June the 6th, 1944. We're dedicating this night to that memory. Little roller up along third. Tricky hop backhanded by Callaspo in the dirt. Nice pick by Justin Turner for the out. 1 away. Take another look. Callaspo, first of all, has the backhand. Throwing on the run. Didn't have much on it. And Turner does a good play at the other. So 1 out. Yadier Molina coming up. American battalion suffered crippling losses during the Normandy invasion, but the story of A Company, 1st Battalion, 116th Infantry is especially devastating, and there's no other word to apply. That's a strike to Molina. They were asked to capture a road to a small French village, but things started wrong for the company before it even reached the shore. Remember, the weather was terrible. 1 ball and 1 strike. Rough seas left a lot of the men dazed and even seasick. Heavy clouds blocked the view of U.S. bombers, so they couldn't help out. 1-1 pitch on the way. Ball 2. German gunners waited for the company in what they call the dog green sector of Omaha Beach. And when Company A finally did run aground, the men were overwhelmed by German mortar, artillery, and machine gun fire. That's ball 3. In under 20 minutes, imagine, less than 20 minutes, 60% of the company's men, many of whom had never seen battle before, were dead or seriously wounded within 20 minutes. Ball 4 to Yadier Molina. 1 out in the 5th inning as we relive as best we can the memories of the Normandy invasion. We get a report on Matt Carpenter. Hope he can bounce back for tomorrow. He has a right tricep contusion. He was hit by the pitch in the 1st inning, battling against Clayton Kershaw. He turned, but it got him on that right elbow. So Carpenter, obviously in pain, tried to stick in there, couldn't do it. So Mike Matheny loses a very valuable player. And now here's Pete Kozma. Started the game at 2nd base, now playing 3rd. And fastball strike on 1. Kozma hitting a .114. He hadn't played much, only had 40 some odd at bats. One out, 5th inning, no score. Pete Kozma from Tulsa, Oklahoma, grew up in Owasso, went to Owasso High School. He was an Oklahoma High School Player of the Year, utility player in the big leagues. 0-1. That's in the dirt. 1 ball, 1 strike. By the way, one thing about Kozma, he can always tell his kids, the Cardinals picked him over Rick Porcello, the talented pitcher who went to the Detroit Tigers. And they signed Pete for a bonus of over $1 million. So he's been with the Cardinals since 2011 with a couple of quick trips to Memphis. He's 27 years old. 1-2. High fastball. So Clayton rolling along right now. The wave. Fastball away. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 5th inning with 1 out. Molina at first base. Molina does not have a stolen base. He's been involved in one and was caught. If he's going, it figures to be part of a hit and run play. Breaking ball hit slowly foul outside of third. 2 balls and 2 strikes the count. No runs, 1 hit for the Cardinals. Clean single by Randall Grichuk up the middle. The Dodgers have 2 hits, a leadoff single by Peterson and a single by Kike Hernandez. Two and two. Fastball hit in the air to left center. Peterson is there. So Kozma fly ball, 2 down. Jaime Garcia coming up.
Number 54, Jaime Garcia.
Jaime Garcia hit the ball pretty well. Ground ball to short in the 3rd inning. We're in the 5th, 2 out. Molina at first. No score. Dodgers will have Hernandez, Rollins, and Callaspo in the bottom of the 5th. Ground ball. Hernandez, easy play. That'll be that. No runs, no hits. There was a walk and a man left. And at the end of 4 1/2, no score. LA is brought to you by your Southern California Toyota dealers. Now, during Toyota's summer savings, you can save big on any 2015 Camry. And by Subway. Download the Subway Restaurants app and lose the weight when you pick up your order. It's Subway made simple. No score in the ball game, bottom of the 5th inning. Jaime Garcia getting ready to pitch to Hernandez, Rollins, and Callaspo. Kershaw negotiated his way through the 5th inning on 12 pitches, so he's made a total of 72. Garcia, going into his 5th inning, has made 50 pitches. Hernandez single to right in the 2nd inning. Ball 1. Pete Kozma near the bag at 3rd. And there's a flare just beyond the reach of Colton Wong for a base hit. So Hernandez is 2 for 2. Both times a base hit to right field. Wong just missed getting his glove on that one. Colton dives, comes up with a glove full of empty. Leadoff man aboard. Dodgers got the leadoff man aboard in the first inning when Peterson singled, but then Heisey hit into a double play. So now Rollins, who struck out in the second inning, coming up. Jimmy hitting .288 left-handed. No, check me on that. Hitting .243 right-handed and .209 for the year. No score, bottom of the fifth inning. That's a strike. 0-1. One ball and one strike. We're in the bottom of the fifth. No score. The Cardinals have not been able to get a runner to second base. The Dodgers have not been able to get a runner to second base. Clayton Kershaw head to head with Jaime Garcia. Clayton has struck out 7. Garcia has struck out 5. Kike Hernandez has not been involved in a running place. Does not have a stolen base, nor has he tried. Kike takes a pretty good lead. 1 ball, 1 strike. Fouled away. 1-2 to Jimmy Rollins. Cardinals began the day 6.5 games in front of Pittsburgh as Callaspo waits on deck. Dodgers began the day a half a game in front of the Giants, but the Giants won in Philadelphia. So for the moment, the teams are tied. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Ground ball to short. Peralta has it down to second. Wong gets it to first in time. So Rollins hits into the double play. The second double play turned by the Cardinals. 6-4-3. And Alberto Callaspo will be coming up. Callaspo hit into a force play in the second inning. Of course, with Garcia, remember that note we told you at the very start of the game. Jaime has lost 2 games, 1-1. The Cardinals have been shut out in 2 of his starts this year. And they've been shut out through 5 innings tonight. Mike Matheny doing a usual solid job. And he has quite a young pitcher out there in Garcia. Jaime was the first pitcher to win at least 13 games for the Cardinals in both his rookie season and the next year. Off speed for a strike. Who was the other rookie who did that? Only the great Harvey Haddix, who was a 20-9 as a rookie and 18-13 the next year. We're going back with Haddock's 1953, 1954. So Jaime Garcia, the man from Reynoso. And a high fly ball, very playable. Holiday is there. So Callaspo, a fly ball, that'll do it. No runs, 1 hit, nobody left. And at the end of 5, no score. Europe by Allied forces in 1944. It was an operation called Overlord, and the big decision was to invade on June the 5th. The weather was bad. In fact, one of the big gambles was Dwight Eisenhower, General Eisenhower, deciding, should we go on the 6th? If we don't go on the 6th, the weather might get even worse. And so they discarded June 5th, and invasion, D-Day, was June the 6th, 1944. Let's go back to this one. No score, 6th inning, top of the order. Borges leading off, 0-1 to Peter. I don't know if you can find a copy of it, but I always remember Tom Selleck, a fine actor. Selleck played the role of Dwight Eisenhower. I think the name of it was just Eisenhower. Tom smoked a cigarette, I think, throughout the entire show. But the reason was to show the stress on General Eisenhower having to make that unbelievable decision. Because he knew if the weather was bad, they wouldn't get any air support, and they would be charging the well-settled-in Germans.
Second baseman, number 16, Colton Wong.
8 strikeouts now for Clayton Kershaw. Colton Wong, who played second base in the first game. Wong had a single and a double in the Carlos Frias game. Last night, he had a single to center, and then that ground ball to Gonzalez. Anderson slipped on the mound. Adrian didn't realize Hernandez was right there at the bag to handle a throw. Wong was given a base hit, and then the fly ball to right, which should have been the 3rd out, was the scoring fly ball, the sacrifice, and it gave the Cardinals the win, 2-1. Colton's from Hilo in Hawaii, and a very good ball player, hitting .314. No score. Cardinals no runs, 1 hit. The single by Grichuk up the middle in the 2nd inning. Dodgers no runs, 3 hits. 2-2 to count to Colton Wong. Wong can steal bases. So in this kind of a game, Kershaw certainly wants to keep him off the base paths. Ground ball. Nice pick by Turner. Hangs it to Kershaw. Got him on a bang play at first. We'll see whether the Cardinals want to review that or not. Good stop. Otherwise, it's a double. And then Turner hanging it. And here comes the foot race. Boy, it looked like a tie. Take another look. Turner making a fine play. Kershaw's right foot and Wong's right foot. And it looked like Kershaw beat him by a half a stride. And they are not going to review it. Two out, sixth inning, no score. And here's Matt Holliday. 274 career home runs. Adrian Gonzalez has 273. Big play by Justin Turner. That goes down the line. Wong is at least at second base. Howie Kendrick talking to Adrian. Kendrick's knee is a lot better, let's put it that way. Whether he plays tomorrow night or not remains to be seen. Fastball 0-2. When Holliday strikes out, a lot of the times he strikes out on a called third strike. Upstairs on a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. There, the pitch total. Only the fourth inning. It appeared like he had to work a little harder. He struck out two and walked the batter, so the pitches piled up a little. Little chopper back to Clayton, and that's the third out. So we have 5.5 innings in the books. It's push against shove and no score. And Dodgers. Boy, there's a picture. Dad with his daughter, mom with her son. Don't forget Father's Day, Sunday, June 21st, Dodgers and Giants. And the first 40,000 in attendance receive a Father's Day barbecue set presented by Farmer John. Bring your gloves and join in a post-game catch on the field as well. So for more information, go to Dodgers.com/promotions. Nothing like it. That's how it starts. Father tells his son or mom tells daughter about the game. They're joined at the hip forever, and baseball keeps them just that way. A.J. Ellis, Clayton Kershaw, and Jock Peterson. Kershaw has made 85 pitches, 61 made so far by Jaime Garcia. Ellis grounded to short in the third inning. Fastball in there. 1-1. We were talking about Garcia, born in Reynosa and moving across the border to Mission, Texas. Popped in the air, foul. Doesn't look like a play. And there isn't a play. Interesting how life works out. Jaime Garcia and his scout in Baltimore, everyone that Baltimore drafted had to take a test before they could sign him. And Jaime didn't do well on the test, so they couldn't sign him. The problem was he took the test in in Spanish, and the interpretation of the test from English to Spanish was wrong. So Baltimore didn't sign him. Chopper wide of third. On it is Kozma. Guns it to first. So because he didn't pass that test, Jaime Garcia went to St. Louis. And as somebody said, the only test he had to take in St. Louis was to go through the minor leagues. And here he is. Jaime Garcia. One out. Clayton Kershaw struck out in the third inning. He's 0 for 1. Fouled off. Fouled away again. 0-2 the count to Clayton Kershaw. We have one out. Bottom of the sixth inning. Jaime Garcia has given up 3 hits, but 2 of the 3 hits followed by a double play ball. Just off the plate. Garcia's 5th and last strikeout was in the 4th. So we now have one out, bottom of the 6th. Tapper wide of third, short hop by Kozma. 2 nice plays by Pete over there. Well, the Dodgers still will be very busy. Tomorrow night, the Cardinals will be here again for a 5-10 game. That'll be Lance Lynn, and he'll be going up against Zach Greinke. And then here come the Diamondbacks. Arizona will be here Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday nights. Dodgers then go out to San Diego and Texas and come back to play Texas and San Diego. Jock Peterson singled to center in the first inning, struck out in the third. You know what's been remarkable about this pitching duel has been the pitchers. And we're not being funny. We've had 18 no ball 2-strike counts tonight. Kershaw's had 10 of them. Garcia has 8, and he immediately goes 0-1 with Jock Peterson. Curveball. Oh, there's another one. 0-2. Well, you take a walk after coming up empty on that pitch, and Peterson finally coming back. He walked a good 30 feet away from home plate. Time for the moment. Ball retrieved in right field. No balls and 2 strikes. 1-2. So Garcia, with 2 out in the 6th inning, has made only 71 pitches. Yasiel Puig tonight returns and has struck out twice. Fastball fouled away. Garcia this year is getting almost 3 ground balls for every fly ball. 1-2. Got him. So Peterson strikes out a second time. 6 strikeouts for Jaime Garcia, 5 in a row retired by the left-hander, and at the end of 6, no score. Is brought to you by Nissan. Get to Nissan's ride of your life for exciting performance and surprising offer. Shop at ChooseNissan.com. And by DraftKings. Play daily fantasy baseball for free on DraftKings.com. Use promo code BLUECREW for free entry. No score, 7th inning, June the 6th, 1944. Operation Overlord. Remember, there were the 5 beaches as Johnny Peralta looks at a strike. Utah and Omaha attacked by the United States. Gold and Sword attacked by the British. And Juneau attacked by the Canadians. Ground ball up the middle. Rollins on it. And we have one away. The interesting thing, among many things, about Operation Overlord, despite the perception that D-Day was mainly an American operation, it was actually the British that took the lead. Nearly the entire plan for D-Day was orchestrated by British General Bernard Montgomery, who was the land force commander, and the naval plans for the battle created by the Royal Navy. In fact, when you see a flotilla of all the ships in the old films about Normandy, ground foul, there were 1,213 warships in the sea that day. 1,213. The interesting thing was the British had 892 and the United States fleet of 200. 0-1. Big slow curveball, strike 2. So the drive was even greater when it came to landing craft. The British had 4,126. There were 805 landing crafts for the U.S. And that will do it for Grichuk. He becomes strikeout number 9. 2 out, 7th inning. Mark Reynolds coming up. Of course, naturally, when it was all put together, it was an allied effort that involved planning and contributions from more than a dozen countries. We're in the 7th, 2 down, bases empty. Kershaw has now retired 7 in a row. And a strike. You know, of the 19 no ball 2 strike counts we were talking about, 18 of the 19 batters were retired. The only one who was not retired, ironically, was Matt Carpenter, hit by the pitch and had to retire from the game. 0-2 to Mark Reynolds. We're in the 7th inning. as we memorialize June the 6th. That's in the dirt. We have, I guess, 2 more stories to tell you in the 8th and 9th. At the same time, while we salute the memory of those who did so much for all of us, really don't want to get in the way of the game either. 1-2. Squirted foul. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Mark Reynolds. Reynolds with a pool hall shot, hit it right off the end of the bat. One and two the count. Clayton Kershaw has made 94 pitches in 7 innings. Through 6, Jaime Garcia has made only 73. The difference, Garcia has not had to make quite as many pitches. He has struck out 6. Kershaw has struck out 9. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Fastball got him looking. Whoa. 10 strikeouts for Clayton Kershaw, but at the end of 6.5, they're standing shoulder to shoulder. Garcia and Kershaw, no score. Bottom of the 7th inning, no score. Heisey, Puig, and Turner, and the fastball inside for ball 1. Heisey hit the ball hard, grounded into a double play, and flied to center. 1-1. Interesting about Jaime Garcia, he's made 73 pitches going into this inning. He has not had a 3-ball count on any hitter. And remember, we told you how he's improved on getting ground balls. He has had 9 ground ball outs. 1-2 the count. No runs, 1 hit for the Cardinals. That was that clean single by Grichuk up the middle. with one out way back in the second inning. The only runners that the Cardinals have had outside of that, Carpenter hit by a pitch, and that was a very, very expensive hit by pitch. Matt had to come out of the game. Pop foul. Then there was Holiday who walked, and Molina who walked, and that's it. So Kershaw has had 12 counts of no balls, 2 strikes, and he has struck out 10. So this is quite a gem. 1-2. Ground ball hard under the glove of Cosma and down the line. Heisey around first, digging for second. He'll make it easily. But Chris Heisey just did get that under the glove of a diving Pete Cosma and down the line, and he was guarding the line. Couldn't do it. Could Carpenter have done it? If you're a Cardinal fan, the answer is, oh, sure. So Heisey leads off with a double. That is the first runner to get to second base for either team. And it happens leading off the 7th, and it brings up Yasiel Puig. Puig struck out in the 1st and struck out in the 4th. Justin Turner behind him. Ball 1. So Chris Heisey, who hit the ball so hard in the 1st inning, and it went into a double play, drills one for a leadoff double here in the 7th. One and one. Off speed pitch. Puig guessing fastball was way out in front of it. Turner waiting on deck. Basically, Garcia, fastball. He has a cutter, and he has that very good change. Fastball right to the gap, and that's going to go through to the wall. In comes Heisey. Yasiel is going to stop at second with an RBI double, and the Dodgers lead 1-0. So the return of Yasiel Puig. He struck out twice and now comes up with a big double here in the bottom of the 7th to drive in Heisey. So Puig is back. Turner has flied to left, grounded to short, 0 for 2. Both balls hit very hard against Garcia here in the 7th. And a line drive off the glove of Wong. Here's Puig on his way to score, and the Dodgers lead 2-0. So when Matt Carpenter was hit back in the 1st inning, we didn't realize what an effect it would have on the game, because Cosma, who started at second, had to take over at third. He couldn't make the play on Heisey, and Wong, a substitution when they moved Cosma to third, couldn't make the play on the line drive by Turner. And the Dodgers lead 2-0. Still nobody out, with Hernandez, Rollins, and Callaspo coming up. Derek Lilliquist on his way back to the Cardinal dugout. Seth Maness down in the bullpen begins to warm up for St. Louis. So Kershaw has something to build on now, a 2-0 lead. And there's Maness. When the Cardinals come up in the 8th, they are due to send up Molina, Cosma, and Garcia. Hernandez twice singled to right field. Walks away and the pitch in for a strike. 0-1. So 2 runs, 6 hits for the Dodgers. No runs, 1 hit for the Cardinals. Yasiel Puig doubles in one and hot legs the other one home. Oh, and 2. Well, Puig said he was ready. Struck out in the first inning, much to the disappointment of his fans. Struck out in the 4th, upsetting Moore. And then, as he usually does, he comes up with something rare and special. Drives in the run and scores the other. 1-2. Again, we remind you, when Puig was out of there, the Dodgers went 21-18, 3 games above 500. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Ground ball up the middle, smothered by Peralta. They get one. Wong turns it into a double play. That is the 3rd double play turned in by the Birds. They got Heisey in the first inning. They got Rollins in the 5th. And now they get Hernandez. Wonderful play by Peralta and Wong. Two out, 2 in. And here's Jimmy Rollins, who was struck out and hit into a double play. So Peralta taking a sure base hit away from Hernandez. And ball 1. For Garcia, he has to wonder what in the world is going on. He's faced with the thought that his team will be shut out 3 times in the starts he's made this year. 1-1. Kershaw will be facing Molina, Kozma, and then a hitter, I would guess, for Garcia. The Cardinal bench and those available to Mike Matheny would be John Jay, Jason Hayward, Tony Cruz, the backup catcher, and Ed Easley. So you figured Jay and Hayward's wearing that hood, figures to see some action. Even though he has some miserable numbers against Kershaw. Three and 1. Right, 3-2. Definition of miserable numbers with Jason Hayward. If they use him, he's 0 for 10 against Kershaw with 7 strikeouts. Fastball grounded sharply to Kozma. All right, the damage done. Couple of doubles and a single, and the Dodgers are out in front 2-0. To look at him again, it was Puig hitting a fastball to right center, scoring Heisey. It was Turner hitting one off the diving glove of Wong to score Puig. And we're heading to the 8th inning, 2-0. Dodgers. Shaw and Jaime Garcia breaks open. Yasiel Puig doubles in Heisey, who doubled. Turner singles home Puig, and the Dodgers behind Kershaw lead 2-0 in the 8th inning. Off speed, a change for a strike. 0-1 to Molina, who was struck out and walked. June the 6th, we promised 2 more stories about the invasion of Normandy. 1 ball, 1 strike. You know, machine guns and explosives certainly weren't the only weapons tearing up the beaches on D-Day. There was a British officer who was nicknamed Mad Jack. High fly ball, very playable. Peterson over there is calling. 1 away. Mad Jack's name was Lieutenant Colonel John Malcolm Thorpe Fleming Churchill. He actually jumped from his landing craft with a sword in hand. He also threw a grenade for good measure as he ran towards the battle. And he managed to capture over 40 German officers at sword point in only 1 raid. He also holds the last recorded longbow kill in history for a kill shot he made in 1940. He was not, surprisingly, a little insane. And when they talked about Lieutenant Colonel Churchill, he is reported to have complained, quote, "If it wasn't for those damn Yankees, we could have kept the war going for another 10 years. Yeah, he had to be crazy. That roar in the background, somebody decides he's bigger than the game and runs out on the field, and they have escorted him off, and we'll get on with the game. Mad Jack, can you imagine? 1944, charging the beach at Normandy, waving a sword? And true. Tony Cruz, the backup catcher to Molina, is on deck with 1 out here in the 8th inning. Pete Kozma struck out, flied out, 0 for 2, and ball 1. So we'll have one more story if we're lucky enough and grateful enough to get it in without really messing up with the team. But it just means so much to remember this day and what was done. June the 6th, 1944. Puig started in, 2 down. So Jaime Garcia, with his team shutout, will have to give way to a pinch hitter, Tony Cruz. Cruz appeared as a pinch hitter last night and sacrificed. He appeared as a pinch hitter in the first game and struck out. So for Garcia, consoled, can't do much better than he did up against a pitcher like Kershaw. 1 ball just got by Kozma, another ball just getting off the fingertips of Colton Wong. And it was all done before 47,655. 47,655. Tomorrow night, 5:10 game. Zach Greinke and Lance Lynn. 1-1 to Cruz. So Kershaw has allowed 1 hit, the clean single by Grichuk up the middle. And he's in the 8th inning. He has struck out 10. The strikeout leaders in the National League right now, and it's updated. Clayton Kershaw with 10 tonight has 100 strikeouts. James Shields has 92, and Max Scherzer has 90. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Tony Cruz. That's that big, slow overhand curveball. Tony Cruz from Lake Worth, Florida. Fastball got him looking. That's 11 strikeouts for Clayton Kershaw. He has now retired 11 in a row. And at the end of 7.5 innings, it is still 2 runs, 6 hits for the Dodgers, no runs, 1 hit for the Cardinals. Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot right now at Dodgers.com/vote. Voting is exclusively online and available on your computer, tablet, and smartphone. You can vote up to 35 times at Dodgers.com/vote. So, vote. Clayton Kershaw made 10 pitches. Looks like he's finished for the night. A total of 106 pitches. He struck out 11. He allowed 1 hit. He walked 2 and hit a batter. The batter he hit on a no-ball 2-strike count was Matt Carpenter, the reliable third baseman for the Cardinals. Seth Maness coming in. Maness working now on Callaspo, who is hit into a force play and fly to left. 0-1. A line drive base hit. So Callaspo strokes 1, and the batter will be A.J. Ellis. In the Dodger bullpen, Kenley Jansen is warming up. So Kershaw went 8, allowed 1 hit, walked 2, hit a batter, struck out 11. And although he is not wrapped up as if he's going home, I'm sure he wants to stay in the dugout and root for Kenley Jansen in the 9th inning. 106 pitches in 8 innings. The bunt by Ellis. Maness makes the play, and on the sacrifice, Callaspo goes to second base. So now we're waiting for Kershaw's hitter, because we just know he's done for the night. It's not going to be Efield, and it's certainly not going to be Kershaw. It's going to be Adrian Gonzalez. So Mattingly writes in Adrian Gonzalez hitting for Kershaw, and the crowd reacts when they see the name.
Number 23, Adrian Gonzalez.
There'll be a little meeting at the mound. Molina going out to talk to Maness. Seth Maness is from Pinehurst, North Carolina. Originally went to East Carolina University. He was signed by the Cardinals in 2011 and first came up in 2013. Maness last year was particularly effective at home. His earned run average was 1.6 and he allowed just one home run. On the road, however, last year his earned run average was over 4 and he had a half a dozen home runs given up. Left-hand hitters last year hit .314 against him, and he's going to see one right now. Wong way out on the grass in right field, but the fly ball goes the other way to Matt Holliday. So Adrian flies to left. Diaspo holding, and the batter will be Jock Peterson. Be sure to join Alonzo Rizzo, Don Mattingly. They'll bring you an inside look at the best moments of the week on and off the field. Don't miss Dodger Clubhouse Monday at 5:30 on Sportsnet LA. Well, now let's see. 2 down. Diaspo at second. The left-hander Peterson coming up. And Mike Matheny on his way out to the mound. He has the left-hander Randy Choate. He has the right-hander Matt Belisle. You may remember that Choate came in and faced Peterson last night and struck him out with those big roundhouse curveballs. So the 40-year-old left-hander, I believe, will be called in. Young Seth Maness goes out. Yep, here comes Randy, and we'll be right back. Old in September. Number 2, he was originally signed by the Yankees in 1997. Number 3, at one time in 2012, Randy pitched for the Dodgers. He pitched in 36 games. Randy Choate is dynamite against left-hand batters. In fact, in his career, in over 975 left-handed batters, the left-handers are hitting .190. They brought him in last night to face Jock Peterson, and he struck him out. And he got him on those big sweeping curveballs that he has. So we'll see what Randy does now that Peterson has seen him at least once. But you're going to get fastballs, curves, slider, and a change from Randy. Peterson 1 for 3, but he has struck out each of the last 2 times against Garcia, and Kenley Jansen is looking ahead to the hitters in the 9th inning. It will be the top of the Cardinal order: Bourjos, Wong, and Holliday. There's that breaking ball off the plate, ball 1. Jock trying to pick up Diaspo. Dodgers lead 2-0. And the same breaking ball down and away. 2-0. 2 balls and no strikes to Jock Peterson. Randy Choate, 6'1", 210. Puigs figured prominently in the game tonight. Doubled in one and scored the other. 2 balls and no strikes. We have to correct the screen. And a chopper wide at first. The feed from Reynolds to Choate. So he does it again. He shuts down Peterson. The Dodgers go out, leaving Callaspo at second base. And at the end of 8, with Kenley Jansen making the long walk to the mound, Dodgers lead 2-0. The Cardinals trying to get off the ground with only 1 hit, and that was a base hit in the second inning by Randall Grichuk. It went up the middle. Jimmy Rollins trying to bird dog it, but couldn't do it. And Grichuk the only hit against Kershaw. Meanwhile, Kenley Jansen has now taken over on the mound, and we're ready to go to the 9th inning with Burgess, Wong, and Holiday coming up. We promised one more story as we salute the memories of June the 6th, 1944. Adrian Gonzalez now at first base. Turner has now moved over to third. And here is John Jay is coming up.
Pitching for the Cardinals, number 19, John Jay.
So Jay hitting for Borjos in the 9th inning. On that fateful morning of June the 6th, there was a young author who landed on Utah Beach amongst the fray of broken bodies, artillery fire, and blood-soaked shores. That's right. He was meant to arrive with the first wave of troops at 6:30 a.m., but he ended up landing in the second wave a few minutes later. And there was a reason. 0-1 to John Jay. And a little pop fly. Rollins went back, now makes the catch. 1 away. The reason that they went in the second wave, the ocean's current staggered the landing about 2,000 yards southward, taking the author and the other officers of the 4th Counterintelligence Corps detachment away from the strongest German defenses. And this small difference may very well have saved his life and the others with him. He was the author of an American classic. Here's Colton Wong. Ball 1. The author of the American classic was carrying the first 6 chapters of his novel on that morning of the invasion of Normandy. With all the hell, he was carrying 6 pages and chapters in his back pocket. Foul ball. Ellis coming back. Got it. 2 down. Who was the author? His name was J.D. Salinger, and the 6 chapters in his knapsack was the beginning of the classic, The Catcher in the Rye. And with that, we'll say good night to June the 6th, 1944, and see now what Jansen can do against Matt Holliday. Matt Holliday hit into a double play, walked, and hit back to the box. Tomorrow night, 5:10, Zach Greinke and Lance Lynn. Cutter off the plate, ball 1. For the Cardinals, the last man to get on base was Molina, who walked in the 5th inning. And another guy decides he's more important than the game. We don't show him. Just trust us that he will be secured and taken off the field. There's no way we're going to honor anyone by showing him on television. So anyone who has the idea, let's run on the field, forget it. No, it just stops everything. 47,655 weight on one poor soul who thinks that for one reason or another it was important to run on the field. Poor guy. Two runs, 7 hits, and no errors for the Dodgers. No runs, 1 hit. Imagine, 1 hit. Kershaw that close. But there was no tension building because the hit occurred with 1 out way back in the 2nd inning. And then Puig, after striking out twice, doubled in Heisey, who had doubled, and then Turner singled in Yasiel. All right, 2 out, 1 ball and no strikes to Matt Holliday. Fastball, 1-1. And one last thought as we began the night, asking you, if at all possible, to please explain to your children what June 6th is all about. Foul ball, 1-2. Kenley trying to put him away. Holliday with his foot in the door. Foul back. Jansen has only been in 6 games prior to tonight. No walks, 11 strikeouts. Dodgers holding on to win would remain a half a game in first place. Little roller. It's a foul ball. Third base umpire Dan Iasonia right there to call it. And Holliday comes back trying to keep things alive with Yonny Peralta. Peralta tonight against Kershaw was 0 for 3. One ball and 2 strikes to Matt Holliday. Holliday 1 for 5 in the past against Jansen, who has struck him out 3 times. So Matt hanging tough on a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. It looked virtually unhittable up here, and Matt was able to go out there and get a piece of it. I think Matt talking to plate umpire C.B. Buckner about whether that would have been a ball or a strike. That's that old gag. Did that sound high or sound away? 1-2. Fastball got him looking. Jansen gets one. 12 Cardinals strike out tonight. They have one hit, and that belonged to Randall Bridges. So the Dodgers beat the Cardinals and remain in first place, a half a game ahead of the San Francisco Giants. Certainly the play of the game marked the return of Yasiel Puig. Chuck Heisey had doubled in the 7th inning, and Puig, who had struck out twice, promptly banged one to the gap in right center. That scored Heisey. Moments later, Turner singled off a diving Colton Wong's glove. That scored Puig, and the Dodgers went on to win it. Jansen makes 11 pitches to seal the deal, and the Dodgers beat the Cardinals 2-0. Tomorrow night, Greinke on the mound going up against Lance Lynn. We'll talk to you then. Till then, we wish you all a very pleasant good evening, everybody.